Y'all please help me welcome back a good friend of the morning show, civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump. Ben, good morning.
Good morning, Rickey.
Man, I know you was busy. That's why I didn't hit you up, bruh. Listen, we hadn't talked to you since the Derrick Chauvin murder trial started. So how is George Floyd's family holding up? And what's your take on how the trial is going so far?
Well, thank you, Rickey, for having me. It's been a while because we all been busy with not only this case, but so many other cases where our people are fighting injustices. And the family of George Floyd, obviously this is very emotional because as we've seen throughout history, when they kill us, no matter how unjustified it is, they always attempt to assassinate our character. And obviously that's what they're doing to George Floyd, and especially when the state takes the case probably starting tomorrow. The defense takes the case starting tomorrow. They're going to call George Floyd everything but a child of God and try to blame him for what happened on that videotape. But the family is, they are very grounded. They're praying. They're committed to getting justice. And I believe that Attorney General Keith Ellison, the first black attorney general in the state of Minnesota, and his team of prosecutors are doing a very compelling job, Rickey, to make sure that Officer Derrick Chauvin is held criminally liable for killing George Floyd. And that's using his powers under the 10th Amendment. When we talk about the civil case, what I do and other civil rights lawyers do, we bring 7th Amendment justice. And I keep arguing that black people have a right to full justice, not just under the 7th Amendment, but also under the 10th Amendment. So let's get that in everybody's head. We want 7th Amendment justice under the private civil rights law, and then we want 10th Amendment justice that only the prosecutors can put somebody in jail.
Right. Now, Mr. Crump, many of us saw this viral video this weekend of a black Army officer. He was in uniform and he got pulled over by officers in Windsor, Virginia. Now, the incident actually happened last December, but no question they used excessive force. So what are your thoughts on this situation?
It's shocking when you think about it because he had no obligation to have to get out the car for a traffic violation. And just last night, Rickey, just breaking news in Brooklyn Center, right next to Minneapolis, Daunte Wright, a young man who they pulled over, and they claim he had a decal hanging from his rearview mirror. That's the reason they pulled him over. Wow. And then they said he had to get out the car, and allegedly they said when he got out the car, they discovered he had outstanding warrants. Whatever happened, they end up shooting this 20-year-old young man 10 miles away from the courthouse where the trial is going on for Derrick Chauvin regarding George Floyd's death. And it just makes no sense, y'all, because we know white citizens who, and it's a traffic violation, they just give them a ticket. You don't have to get out the car. But when it's black people, they change the rules. And so that's what we're fighting. What happened in Virginia is a microcosm of what just happened fatally in Minneapolis yesterday with this 20-year-old kid who becomes the latest hashtag in the battle cry for Black Lives Matter. So we got to get this George Floyd Justice and Policing Accountability Act passed by the United States Senate.
Hey, what about the Baytown area of Houston? You've been working on the case of Pamela Turner, who was shot several times by a police officer in May 2019 outside of her apartment complex. You recently announced that a federal lawsuit will be filed. Where does that stand?
Thank you for asking about that, Rickey, because, again, I think black women just don't get the attention from the media and society that even black men get when they're killed by the police. So if everybody could repost the Pam Turner video, go to my IG, go to anybody at IG who got the video, at Attorney Crump. And it's so important, Rickey, because on her 46th birthday, which was last Thursday, Breonna Taylor's mother flew into Houston, and we had a press conference where we announced the filing of the wrongful death lawsuit. On May 13th, Breonna Taylor's mother is coming back, and we're going to have a march for black women. And that is going to be in Baytown, Texas, which is a suburb of Houston. It is where all the Exxon executives live. It's a town they don't really want black people at, as I understand from the local community. But we're going to come and lead an effort saying black women lives matter too. And then get this, Ricky. On May 25th, they did charge the officer. They only charged him with manslaughter. And when you look at that video, she's laying on her back crying, I'm pregnant, and the officer shoots 5 times, hitting her 3 times, 1 in the face, 1 in her chest, and 1 in her stomach. And the video tells the story, Ricky. He just accosted her. She was minding her own business. And so if you can repost that video, May 13th, come to Baytown. And finally, on May 25th, the 1-year anniversary of George Floyd being tortured to death by Derrick Chauvin, her trial will begin in Houston, Texas on May 25th. How's that for irony?
Hey, Ben, do you feel safe? Because I know you get a lot of death threats or whatever. You got the bros or somebody, looking out on your behalf because you out here fighting for justice for everybody. That makes you a lightning rod. So how are you handling yourself?
Hey, Ricky, thank you for asking. We do get the death threats, and we don't take them for granted. We report them to the federal authorities. But we have a lot of brothers and sisters who are constantly with me. They don't have me by myself when I'm in these towns. I have great employees at Ben Crump Law who always see to my protection. But we all have to be careful because you have a lot of these people walking around with these guns because they say they have a right to carry. And I think many times, Ricky, they taunt Black Lives Matter activists, trying to get them to do something so they can say, oh, we were standing our ground. Because, stand your ground, that's all they have to say. It don't work well for black people. But, when white people say stand your ground, the statistics say their self-defense alibis are 500 times more likely to succeed than if a black person kill a white person.
Hey, Ben, listen, Ben. Hey, for real, call us anytime. Hit me up. You already know. I just really appreciate everything you do, man, for always making the time to come on and give us these updates. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all give it up for Attorney Benjamin Crump. Ben, thank you, man.
Hey, thank you for your get a verdict out this weekend, Ricky.
All right, dog team, man. Hey, hit me. I'll text you. Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
All right, Fred. I'm
all right, y'all.
Piece of happiness.
Rude. Hey, Ben Crump, ladies and gentlemen, Rickey Smiley Morning Show. Gentlemen, Rickey Smiley Morning.